Welcome to the DHS Provider Hub training. Here you will learn about the enrollment and attendance feature within the Provider Hub. This microlesson highlights the process for childcare providers to manage the enrollment information for children and parents or authorized adults within your program or care. By the end of the course, providers should be able to navigate the dashboard to view the roster of children enrolled and those with a future start date. Modify a child's enrollment status. Edit an account, such as edit child information, edit parent, guardian, or authorized adult information, edit an adult's active or inactive status, or pin reset for the kiosk experience. As we continue through the training, it's important to note that some of the screens may look slightly different in the system than shown in screenshots or this demo. Feedback is constantly being incorporated and will be reflected in the system. Also, important to know, information related to children and parents or guardians in the Provider Hub is only viewable by providers who are logged in and have the appropriate user access level. Let's get started. Chrome or Edge are the preferred browsers for this feature. Log into the Provider Hub with your email username and password. Navigate to the Enrollment and Attendance tab. Choose a specific business license ID number and select Enter Enrollment and Attendance. Some views may look slightly different based on the level of access for your role. The Provider Hub will time out after 12 hours and can be further managed through the user's device settings. Once logged into the Provider Hub's enrollment and attendance feature, a provider will view the Take Attendance tab as the main landing page for the feature. Select the Manage Enrollment tab. The Manage Enrollment view allows providers to view their complete enrollment list and manage those accounts by editing information related to the children and/or parents and guardians, as well as pause an enrollment status. The functionality described in this course is the primary way to edit all information after a new enrollment account has been created. Let's start by reviewing the basic navigation of the Manage Enrollment tab. The functionality within this enrollment roster view has a similar look and feel to the Take Attendance and Update Attendance tab, and much of the dashboard functionality is consistent as well. The search field allows providers to search for children by first or last name. As the user begins to type, a name will automatically populate. The up arrow allows users to sort the given column alphabetically or numerically, as well as sorting by enrollment status. The column divider allows a provider to adjust the column width. It's important to note the enrolled child roster indicates all children that are currently enrolled with the selected provider. It is possible that a child's name will appear here if they have attended in the past but are not currently attending. They will still be considered enrolled if no end date was entered or if the child has a future end date. Providers have the ability to toggle the enrollment status between enrolled and enrollment paused. Slide the toggle to change the enrollment status. Enrolled is indicated by the color green and means a child is active and attendance is being captured for some period of time. These children will appear on the Take Attendance tab. Enrollment paused is indicated by the color gray and means these children are still enrolled, however, they do not appear on the Take Attendance tab. Sliding the toggle from left to right will populate a pop-out window. The enrollment status column can be useful information in the event children have a seasonal or inconsistent attendance. Paused children do not appear on the Take Attendance tab, making it more efficient to navigate the roster of children which are in attendance. Note, those children may still appear within the Update Attendance tab for the dates in which they were in attendance. As an example, a child's status may be paused during the month of June or July while they are not attending. However, a provider could update attendance records for previous months in which they were in attendance. As part of enrolling a child, one piece of information that the tool asks for is if the child has an enrollment end date. This is an optional field, meaning a provider can enter an end date if known or leave the field blank. In relation to a child's end date, a provider should ask themselves, is this child permanently leaving the program or your care? If yes, add or enter an enrollment end date if it's known. After this end date, the child will no longer appear in the active enrollment list on the Manage Enrollment tab. This child would also not appear on the Take Attendance tab. To add them to your program again in the future, this child would need to be added to re-enrolled within the Enrollment and Attendance feature. If the answer is maybe or no, then do not enter an enrollment end date. Instead, the child's enrollment can be paused. During this paused period, the child will no longer appear on the Take Attendance tab. They will remain on the enrollment roster list on the Manage Enrollment tab. Next, let's take a look at children listed on the Not Started Children roster. Children listed under the Not Started Children roster will not appear in other rosters throughout the enrollment and attendance feature, such as the Take Attendance or Update Attendance tabs. These children have a completed enrollment account with a future start date in which attendance details will begin at that time. On a given child's start date, that account will automatically move to the Enrolled Children roster view. Prior to the start date, a provider can select Edit Account to make changes to the enrollment information that had been previously captured, including modifying the start date. Let's take a minute to discuss a child's enrollment status within the enrollment and attendance feature. This chart describes where a child appears within the feature based on the enrollment status. Children that have been enrolled with a future start date are considered in a not started status and will only appear on the tab Manage Attendance Not Started Children roster. Children that are enrolled and eligible for daily attendance are considered in an active status and will appear on the following tabs: Take Attendance, Update Attendance, Manage Attendance, Enrolled Children, and within the kiosk experience. Children that are enrolled but not eligible for attendance are considered in a paused status and will appear on the Manage Enrollment Enrolled Children roster. Note, paused children will appear on the Update Attendance roster only for the specific dates in which the child was actively enrolled. And finally, children whose end date has passed are considered terminated. Note, this term is not used anywhere within the feature, but is used to describe the outdated accounts for children who are no longer a part of your program. This table view is available to providers in the Enrollment and Attendance User Guide for future reference. Providers can edit a child account, whether they are enrolled, paused, or in the Not Started Children roster. The same contact information that was included in the original enrollment are the fields included for this edit functionality. Similarly to the initial enrollment process, the form cannot be saved in progress, and the required fields are notated with an asterisk. From either tab, select Edit Account. Here you will have the option to update information for a given child or a given parent or guardian. Children who are actively enrolled will have the functionality to edit the start and end date. Select Submit. You can also edit the parent guardian information. To save all information, complete the rest of the process flow. Select Next. Select Save Enrollment. Select Return to Manage Enrollment. This process outlines steps to ensure parents and guardians and authorized adults within an account have access to the appropriate child information. For example, an adult that no longer has legal custody of a child could require their status to change to inactive. An active status allows the ability to opt into the parent-guardian experience for child check-in or check-out, as well as receiving communication regarding child attendance historical records. Important, changing a status requires the provider to edit the account and for the system to pass that information on to other parts of the enrollment and attendance feature, such as the parent-guardian kiosk experience. This system update occurs overnight and can take up to 24 hours after being initiated. Let's take a closer look at the details of this process. When a provider is changing the status for parent, guardian, or authorized adult, they would initiate this from within Edit Account. It's important to note that editing an account requires the system to pass that information on to other parts of the enrollment and attendance feature, such as the parent-guardian kiosk experience. This process can take up to 24 hours. This table displays that process flow. When changing an active status to inactive, it can take up to 24 hours for the PIN to be deactivated in the system. When changing an inactive status to active, it can take up to 24 hours for the PIN to be triggered and working in the kiosk experience. Changing an adult status. From the Manage Enrollment tab, navigate to an account. Select Edit Account. Identify the adult in which a status needs to change. Note that each account must have at least one active adult. Slide the toggle to change the status. A confirmation window appears. Select Yes. While the status displays inactive, complete the process flow to make all saved changes within the system. Select Next. Select Save Enrollment. Select Return to Manage Enrollment. Again, note this change can take up to 24 hours to be reflected in all parts of the feature. This process outlines steps providers need to take within the Manage Enrollment tab. If first, a provider selects to use the kiosk experience feature in consideration with other business processes, and two, if the provider has opted in the adult to the kiosk experience to check in and check out their children. First, a provider needs to ensure that adults are properly set up within a child's account to enable the PIN activation, allowing parents, guardians, and authorized adults to access the kiosk experience. Note, separate training is available for both providers and adults to understand how to use and access the kiosk experience. Important, two conditions must be true for adults to initiate PIN number generation. First, the adult needs to be in active status. And second, the adult needs to opt in and provide an email address. Let's look at the details within an account as an example. In this example, this first adult has access to the kiosk experience. An email address has been entered and the adult is active. This can be confirmed by selecting Update Information. An email address is entered and the adult is opted into the kiosk experience. This blue button, Reset PIN, can be selected if this parent needs their PIN resent. In this next example, this adult does not have access to the kiosk experience. No email address is provided, and they are inactive. In this next example, this authorized adult currently does not have access to the kiosk experience. No email address has been entered, but they are active. This can be changed by selecting Update Information. Opt this adult into the kiosk experience and enter an email address. Select Submit. The status is not yet changed until the entire process is complete. In this last example, this adult also has access to the kiosk experience. An email address is entered, the adult is active, and they have been opted into the experience. To save all information, complete the process flow by selecting Next. Confirm information that was changed. Select Save Enrollment. Select Return to Manage Enrollment. Note, for adults that have been previously entered, this Edit Account functionality may take up to 24 hours for the system to communicate to all parts of the feature. This table describes PIN generation for new enrollments. When you are adding a child or add a child to an existing account. When entering parent-guardian information for a new child enrollment, two conditions must be true to initiate an adult PIN to generate. First, at least one child within the account must have a current active status. Second, the adult must have opted into the kiosk experience by selecting the opt-in checkbox and provide an email address. PIN generation for the new enrollment entry point will be triggered within a few minutes of completing the process flow outlined here and that will be demonstrated. While the two conditions must still be true, the process flow functions slightly different from within the Edit Account functionality. As a reminder, at least one child within the account must have a current active status, and the provider must have opted into the kiosk experience for the adult by selecting the opt-in checkbox and provide an email address. If adding a new parent, guardian, or authorized adult, the PIN generation will be triggered within a few minutes of completing the process flow outlined in this table. If an adult has already been added to the account, a provider would navigate to update information to ensure the adult is active, has opted into the kiosk experience and has an email address entered. Changes to this information will require the system to pass information to other parts of the feature. This process can take up to 24 hours. This process outlines steps for resetting a parent-guardian PIN for the kiosk experience. There are two ways to do this. First, providers can reset a parent-guardian PIN from within the Provider Hub's Manage Enrollment tab. The second option for resetting a PIN is also available for parents to initiate themselves from within the kiosk experience. For a provider to initiate, navigate to the Manage Enrollment, select the child or the account, select Edit Account, identify the parent or guardian, select Reset PIN. A confirmation message appears indicating a PIN has been sent to the email on file. Select X to close the message. Note, the blue button indicates the criteria has been met, meaning there's an active status and the adult is opted in to the kiosk experience. Thank you. We appreciate your time in reviewing this information.